All
Yeah.
right. Sweet. Hell yeah. Tampa Mark.
Oh yeah, baby. It's wide open. People are moving here. I don't know, man. Who knows what the future holds, but people are living for today, and it's no one is scared down here. It's wild.
Oh, I hope they're a little scared because I don't want old people to die, but shit.
Sure, of course, but the side splitters is the capacity is 110%. They're adding seats.
What?
It's
That's
banana.
horrible.
It's wild down here.
Larry King came to your show. That's where he got it.
Larry King, Dr. Drew, everybody. I talked to Burt Kreischer. He said like all these people are getting it now, and it's like it's just so weird. It's like it's locked down, but people are still getting it, so you don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. I have to address the mustache as well.
Oh, please. We're all terrified.
Yeah, I know. Look, I was in the shower. I had a full beard and I was like, it's time. It was getting itchy. Start shaving and runs out of battery. I have like I should have kept the full fucking thing. I could have looked like Tampa, but it was like all the way around. It was horrible. Yeah. And I had to trim away, but I have very sensitive, weak skin. I'm fucking breaking out. I whittled it down to this, but I fucking look like Freddie Mercury at this point.
You look like Super Mario over here. You got a full stash and it's thick too.
One time to Mateo Lane, we did the roast battle thing, and I said, "You look like you have Freddie Mercury poisoning."
That's great.
But no, dude, it's yeah, it's nothing anytime anything un-COVID related happens that's shitty, I'm like, this isn't fair.
Right.
You know?
I know. It's a nightmare. This whole thing's annoying. You heard they're vaccinating grocery store employees now.
They deserve it, man.
They do, but those guys are getting laid more than us. I mean, they're like on the front lines. They're working. This is the first time grocery store guys are getting laid.
I saw a guy in a Gristedes hat. I was like, this guy's he's just wearing that for the pussy. I could tell, you know?
He's got the vaccine. He's got a job. He's killing it.
Saw a Fresh Direct guy with 2 models, you know?
This pussy's fresh direct to my face. Grubhub, indeed.
Oh, you got like a real to-go glass from the club.
Well, I wanted a real cup. They were out of to-go cups, so I got a Tito's and soda. Oh, we got to talk about our drink.
Oh, yeah.
Burt Kreischer's from Tampa. I'm in Tampa, so I got a Tito's and soda in honor, and it's a great, just refreshing night-ending drink.
It really is. It's also like it's like a Real Housewives drink, but it's like a Weight Watching drink, but it's good.
It's so good. It's so light and it's bubbly, and the vodka's not bad. I put a lime in there. It's all you need, folks.
I did a similar thing. I'm a little embarrassed now that we're so on the same page here, but I'll show the bottle first. I did a little tequila soda.
Oh, nice.
I did the rock stuff. I got the Terramana.
Ooh, I don't know Terramana.
It's like what Clooney had with Casamigos. The Rock has Terramana. A bottle's like $20 cheaper than Casamigos. Casamigos is great, but it's like it's got a lot of play now. So Terramana, it's like $35 for a bottle in New York. So I'm sure it's cheaper wherever else. But
that's great.
Good. Mix that with a little I do the Spindrift. I like this stuff. It's got a little fruit
love
in
that
there.
shit.
Yeah, dude. I got a little cranberry raspberry action.
Ooh, nice touch.
Fucking nice, dude. I do a lot of sometimes I'll do a little vodka with the lemon black tea one.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like an Arnold Palmer type thing. It's nice.
Oh man, that's a great drink. And I used to love I'm older than you. So did you ever have Clearly Canadian?
Oh, I love that shit.
Oh man, I used to love that shit. That
was
back
like
when,
it was like sugary seltzer, but it was really good.
Yeah, it was a good way for a kid to like transition into seltzer, you know? It's like the Elliot Page of seltzer. But man, I used to love that shit. And that was back when nobody was doing that. Now they're everywhere.
Clearly Canadian was like, I'm gay. And then seltzer is like, I'm now a woman. That's how you
Yes.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. Exactly. But that's it's a great mixer. So good call there.
And I got the Krusty the Clown mug too. Oh, that's pretty good.
Sounded more like Mackie. But what'd you do for New Year's?
I did a gig in Brooklyn. I did Shafi Hossein, our buddy, did a show outdoors. It was great. Heated tents, just worked out new shit. Brought Rachel Feinstein with me. We hung out, worked out new, had a few tequila had a few Bud Light mangoes. Chilled
Hey,
out.
that's great.
Husband, the fireman, Pete.
Oh, I love Pete.
It was fun. It was a good time. But
That's
New
a good
York is
night.
killing me because we tried to get dinner after the show. It's like 9:30. All right.
Ah,
We're walking around Brooklyn, see like all these cool restaurants. You're like, oh, let's go to one of these places. Literally all of them are like, we can't take you anymore. I'm like, it's fucking New Year's, dude.
I know.
I get that, like, the early curfew, but even I know it's a pandemic. I know, like, look, we're being very careful, like, but the fact that this city closes down at 10 is like one of the most heartbreaking things.
Never thought I'd see the day.
And
Not
also
New York.
coffee shops are closing. You used to get like 8 or something for a coffee shop. Sometimes it's like 4 now because they're like, yeah, no one's buying coffee past 4.
Right.
The city's closing down at 10, you know, so it's killing me.
And it's cold out. That's the thing about New York. Like, you'd always go like, all right, it's freezing, but I'll get a cup of coffee. I'll sit inside and write or listen to whatever podcast. Now you can't go inside. It's ruined. So what do? You got to stay in your apartment.
Dude, it was brutal. We were walking around for a while and we found we've got like a pizza place and we're like, can we just like sit in your little heated area? And they were like, no. We had to just like sit. We were like, this is being homeless.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, I mean, we had money and we, it's not homeless, but it's crazy what the city's become, man. I still love it. But the late night thing kills me. Like 2 bodegas by me that used to be open. One used to be open all night. It's closed at like 8 now. It kills me.
It's the worst, man.
It's not worth the money. I get it. They don't want to stay open all night,
right,
for that money, but damn.
Yeah, I never thought I'd see the day. Like, I went down to New Orleans for Thanksgiving and I was like, well, New Orleans, they're a bunch of degenerates, animals. That's going to be wide open. And they were shut down, which it's the right thing to do and all that. But I'm like, I never thought I'd see this. Like, Bourbon Street was pitch quiet. You could drop a pin. It was insane.
It's like the party animal from high school and he shows up in like a V-neck and a wife and he's sober. Yeah. And you're like, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck happened to you?
I know. And you're like proud of him in a way, but you're also like, dude, you're in finance? What? You married a Mormon? What? It's crazy.
Bourbon Street wasn't supposed to work with numbers, man. Bourbon Street was supposed to be a fuck up. It's a bummer. Yeah.
Exactly. Great way to put it.
St. Charles, New Orleans, like the Magazine Street. It's like, those are like party streets. Those are like where the action is. So it's
completely,
it's tough.
Bourbon's the guy who doesn't wear a condom and now he's like selling Trojans. It's weird. Yes. It doesn't add up, but
yes,
I get it. It's crazy times.
Yeah, it's rough. So how was Tampa Side Splitters New Year's?
I mean, it was great. We did a couple shows and I did the countdown and the girlfriend came on stage and like gave me a glass of champagne at midnight. And then we did the arm thing and drank it. And, you try to stay safe. You try to wear a mask and all that, but it was mayhem. And then there's drugs and, they lock the door. It's you and the staff. And it's quite a brouhaha.
I just picture you with a switchblade in your mouth and a fucking syringe wrapping around. You're like, you try to keep it, cool.
Yeah. I had a needle. Somebody's like, what are you doing? I'm like, it's the vaccine. Don't worry. But yeah, it was wild. And the next day you're hung. I puked. I haven't puked since 88.
Dude. Yeah. Shit.
And we went after it. I puked in the parking lot of the hotel, like I drove. I mean, it was bad news. Luckily, it's like an 8-minute drive, but
that's a trash move, man. A parking lot vomit.
And there's nothing worse than you're hungover, you hate yourself, you're ashamed. The next day, the sun is shining, and you go out to get in the car and you see the vomit.
Ooh, yeah, that's rough.
Eye opener right there.
That's like seeing the blood after a murder. You're like, fuck, I did that? That's horrible.
Yeah, exactly. And then you see the vomit, you get in your car, then you go drink during the day and hit the beach. So,
and then you have to do, and was it hard to do the shows that hungover?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know why they do this, but there was no Friday show. So Thursday was New Year's, you go nuts, and then we had Friday off. So it was perfect having a girl down here because like we hit the beach, we got there's no like, oh, it's almost showtime. I gotta go, honey. Nice. It was just all day, all night.
Yeah, it's the hangover now. Like I'm having to like watch it a little just because the pandemic hangovers are like it's a new level of depression where I can't. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm too old for this shit. I'm a fucking loser. Yeah, I'm panicking a little bit when I get that anxiety. That's like, I fucking meditated the other day. I don't meditate. I'm not a meditator.
Yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do. By the way, worst James Cameron film, The Meditator. Holy shit!
Is that a real movie?
No, I'm doing a Terminator joke, but yeah, that would be horrible. But yeah,
that. I'm an idiot.
The hangovers now, it's next level. It used to be I'm queasy, I'm puking, I'm mad at myself, I have shame, and now it's like anxiety on top of depression, on top of questioning your life choices. It's the 30s, man. It's a whole new level of hangover.
Yeah, it's rough, man. I gotta watch it a little bit. I'm trying to like get back into my neck was out for like 2 months. So I'm like just getting back into shape. I'm just like figuring out how to, it's hard to get into shape in a pandemic because everything's fucking thing. Like literally, I don't know. It'll get better. It'll get better. We're at the beginning here of like the end, I think.
Beginning of the end, I think you're right. And also you were a basketball guy. You were a swim
I've been playing
guy.
outdoors. Yeah. Oh, swimming is killing me. That was my thing.
Well, swimming is so good for you. There's all these health benefits. And I was hitting the gym twice a week. I don't want to be ripped. I just like to.
You are kind of ripped though.
Well, it was like a mental thing. It's like this discipline and you're getting in the zone. And then if you break the chain, you feel horrible and you got to get back into it. And I'm at my house now, like, let me lift this paint can for a minute, or let me hit this water jug. Like you're just trying to find heavy shit. I'm lifting my girlfriend. She's put on some weight, whatever it takes.
It feels like lame Rocky is what it feels like. He's like going to town on a fucking, I'm like looking at a Cornish hen. I'm like, what could I do with this shit right here? I don't know.
Right.
A game bird. Can I do anything with that? Yeah, no, it's brutal. It's hell. And yeah, I was doing like soup cans. I was doing like literally soup cans on the floor, like trying to just figure some stuff out to like strengthen my back. It's embarrassing. Yeah,
whatever it takes. It is embarrassing. Somebody should do a video of that, like home workout. Like you got the crushed tomatoes, you're going over the head with a can or something. That could be fun.
It is, yeah. And it's, the thing is though, it's like, that's a great point because all these kettlebells and dumbbells on Amazon are sold out because everyone fucking was like, I need weights.
Yeah. By the way, who's getting more of a workout than the Amazon guy? He's got to deliver those kettlebells. So he doesn't realize that he's lifting weights literally on a delivery.
That's something.
It's like the Hedberg joke. He's a drug dealer, doesn't even know it. He's a bodybuilder, doesn't even know it.
That's that fucking Hedberg joke. Damn.
Hedberg
was too good, man.
What do you think of Joe List's theory about Hedberg as the ultimate feature?
Fuck that shit. Are you kidding me? What's a feature? He's the best deadpan one-liner guy ever. Are you kidding me?
Well, I don't know. Stephen Wright.
Yeah, they're both up there.
Here's the thing about the one-liner guys. If you're going to be a one-liner guy, I'm talking Dimitri Martin, Hedberg,
I love Dimitri, yeah.
Stephen Wright, Jeselnik. Yeah. Your persona has to be Jeselnik. That big.
I left Jeselnik off. He's great, obviously.
He's great. I mean, you have to be a persona to be a one-line, because it has to make up for the fact that you're not moving and acting out and
the jokes. Every word has to be so precise and meticulous. Like your whole set has to be so figured out. Yeah, I mean, Hedberg has some albums where he's just fucking bombing. These are albums.
Yeah, totally. But
he also Stephen Wright only had that one album. Is my only thing.
True.
He had a new one later. The first one it's one of the best albums ever.
That's amazing.
I went to a diner that said breakfast anytime, so I ordered French toast during the Renaissance. I mean,
incredible.
Genius.
I went to a convenience store. It said 24 hours, but they were closed. And he's like, I thought you said 24 hours. He's like, yeah, not in a row.
Genius.
I mean, they had some jokes on there that like blew. I didn't know you could write jokes like that. I lost my socks. I called information. I mean, come on.
So good.
Like next level abstract shit.
It's a small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it. Who writes that and is like, that's a joke? Why is Stephen Wright not on Twitter? He'd be fucking destroying Twitter.
He's too good for it.
He's too good for it. Yeah.
Twitter would ruin him. They'd be like, I'll give that a favorite. Fuck you. That should get a
Although Emo Phillips, great one-liner guy. He's great on Twitter.
Great one-liner guy, great on Twitter. And another guy, proving my point, you got to have a big persona if you're going to be a one-liner guy.
Yeah, one-liners are tough, man.
They are.
I was a one-liner guy when I started for the most part, and it's just like I just was like, I can't write hours like this.
Yeah, you need a story every now and then. You need a chunk. You need a POV. You know.
Well, not a lot of very personal one-liner guys, because how would you be?
Good point. Good point. Personal is a big one where everybody's like, you got to be personal. You got to talk about your life and your family. But Carlin, not very personal. Never heard about his daughter or his marriage or anything.
In his book, he writes about it. But you're right. Yeah, last words he talks about it, but not in his stand-up. Brian Kiley, amazing one-liners. Watch his Lettermans. Jimmy Carr.
Oh shit, you're right.
There are some great one-liner guys. Although I will say, you know who is kind of, I mean, we talked about him on the podcast before, but Nick Griffin has short jokes and is very personal.
Oh, good point. Good point.
He's like probably as close to as what you get as like a one-liner guy who's like kind of bearing his soul, you know?
Yeah, that's true. He lets it all out and pretty clean. Like he'll throw a shit in every now and then or a fuck, but it's only when necessary. He could do an hour clean easy and you wouldn't notice. That's
a good point. Yeah, it's great when it's like it doesn't matter when you're like watching a guy and you're like, I couldn't even tell that was dirty or clean. I just knew it was good.
Bargatze's got that. He's just a good comic. You're not like he's a great clean comic. He's just a killer comic.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I remember I did a show with someone once and I was laughing so hard. I forgot what clean comic was before me, but I was laughing so hard and the booker was like, oh, I didn't think you'd like him. And I was like, the fuck are you talking about? It's comedy. It's like,
I know. Crazy.
I like to laugh. I like good jokes. What is like, I think people make an assumption that you're only going to like people similar to you, whereas sometimes it's the opposite.
Usually it's the opposite.
Yeah.
That's what's great about Norm is pretty clean. And he's like this brilliant guy, like the dog walker, the hobo with the dog joke. That's all clean.
That was a classic.
His last Letterman was killer with the Germans fighting World War II, fighting the world. All that was gold.
What do you have any pet peeves this week?
Oh geez. Here's the thing that happened that I want to run this by you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound like an asshole. I'm gonna sound like a cunt, but they're boarding the planes back to front now because with COVID, and I've never had more points. And I want to use them. I want to get on first, but I'm boarding back to front, so I got to wait. You got a first class ticket, and you're waiting.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you were just some like rich shitty guy, I'd be like, fuck you. But you put in your time to get those miles, like you earned them. You're a road dog. I get a little annoying with status on flights because like we fly so much,
right?
Like I want to be in the Delta Club. I want to fucking.
I know.
I want to like hang out. You know, status flying is like. I want comfort if we're gonna be flying this much, and we ate shit for years doing the road.
Years.
Like, we flew Frontier and Spirit. No offense to those airlines, but you know,
they're the worst.
They're the worst.
They're the worst. I mean, how many times were you? I was in that back seat where you're like, all right, fuck it, I made it finally back here, but. Oh, it doesn't recline because you hit the bathroom.
Totally. So how many times did you fall asleep face first into this tiny thing where I'm like, this should be illegal. This should be fucking, this is like in Guantanamo. This is how they sit people. Why is my back so fucked up? My frame, for one thing, probably that I never lifted weights to improve my back. But a third thing is all the travel. That's really what it comes down to. And I'm not going to ever begrudge a fellow comedian for complaining about travel conditions ever.
I mean, and look, we're low maintenance. We're not these diva guys, but like I finally got all these points and these miles put together after years of road dogging at Funny Bones and Cincinnati's and you name it. And then we're now boarding back to front. And I'm like, right when I get to this gold, I can't use it.
But not for now. I mean, not forever. I mean, it's a COVID thing, right?
Yeah, it's a COVID thing, and look, I get it. It actually makes more sense, but Joe listed a great point, not to bring him up again, but he's like, why don't planes it should be like a baseball game. When you show up, you get your seat. It should be, I hate this like boarding zone one. Like, look, open the door, let people come and go as they please, and then we'll take off.
That's not a bad point.
It's not bad. It's his point.
I don't hate it. I'm with it.
You know why they do it? Because these cum-guzzling Nazis with their capitalism have to go, we can sell more because people want zone one. So we can get another $20 out of this guy at the last minute.
Oh, they take shit away every year. I mean, I read some
Yeah.
statistic with how much they save by like giving one less olive in like a snack thing where you're like, oh, it like you think about it, you're like, well, I guess it's a lot of money when you think about all the lights, but also fuck you. It's a fucking olive.
Yeah, and I mean they do the same with the olive. They do it with the inch. Like I remember a seat used to be pretty big. Now a seat's like 3 or 2 inches smaller than it used to be, and just we're getting fatter, and the seats are getting smaller.
Not just fatter, we're bigger. Like look who played basketball in like the '60s. The center was like 6'3". Now now they're like 7'5", and it's like, why are the seats smaller? We're bigger. I think about this sometimes when I see pro athletes, and I'm like, what about the guys who missed out? What if like Shaq? What if Shaq wasn't a basketball player and he was just like some dude that worked at Barnes and Noble? And when he flew, he's like, I guess I got to sit coach. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's a great point. That's a great. Or he'd have to buy 2 seats, and it would ruin his income. Yeah, you're right. That's a great point. And it's fucked up that I'll tell you, tall people and fat people, the clothes are the same price, I think, which is interesting. Like a shirt for a fat guy and a tall guy is the same as a shirt for a skinny guy and a short guy. So that's kind of nice.
It's big and tall.
Oh, they have their own
store. That's the store, big and tall.
Are they more money? Because it seems like more fabric would look. Real estate, you're getting more square foot. You're gonna pay more in rent.
Well,
does
kids'
it work
shoes
that way with fabric?
Kids' shoes, the same shoes are less expensive. So I would assume that if it was more, it would probably cost more.
Interesting.
Also, if it's more custom made and rare, which like
true,
say you have a size 20 size foot, I'm gonna assume you got to pay more for it. I don't know that for a fact.
But that's kind of unfair that you're just born that way. You didn't do anything, and now you're fucked.
That's a good point.
That's kind of unfair. It's. I mean, you're a minority in a way. You're tall. By the way,
giants are a minority.
Giants are a minority,
and so are little people.
Yeah, they're really minor, but they get. I feel like little people they have more options. Like a little guy on a plane.
Wouldn't you rather be a giant though?
I would rather be a giant. Good point. At least a giant gets laid, I think. But a little person on a flight is first class no matter what seat he's in.
That's true.
It's all leg room.
Yeah, but you're just breaking down the little person to just flying.
That's
the problem.
You're right.
What about in the grocery store when he needs a giant to grab him from the top shelf?
Good point.
You're a little person. You can only drink bottom shelf liquor.
Well, I guess the point is in life, there's perks to everything and flaws to everything.
True.
You know,
I think I'll still take the giant because in my mind, I'm like, giant, I can make the NBA. I just got to get a free throw down. I'm in.
Right.
It's more than that. That's not true. But yeah, I just think a giant, you have a better
quality of life.
all around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it is funny how like certain things are status. Like I see a giant dog in New York and I'm like, in this fucking city, you know what I mean?
Get that.
It's great. Well, they must have a decent place, or right. That's what I'm saying. It's a status symbol. A small little dogs. People are like in everywhere in New York. I'm like, no, it's because we have smaller apartments in New York.
Right. It's almost like how fat in the Renaissance was a sign of wealth because you could afford all that food that you're so overweight, and that's the same with dogs now. You can afford the space.
That's a good point.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's funny how fat used to be, although fat is still powerful sometimes. Like Tony Soprano, you're like, that's powerful.
Good point.
If you're like so fat and you're also successful, you're like, well, that person just doesn't care and they're fat. And that's kind of ultimate power.
Right. Yeah. Not caring is the ultimate power. Going back to my robe bit that you helped me with. It's all about power. But yeah, you're right. But you're going to have more health issues, but you're just like, yeah, I'm that rich. I'm that comfortable. I can make it work.
Yeah. That's a good pet peeve.
Let me go. Oh, I want to hear your pet peeve.
You go first or whatever you're going to say.
Well, I was going to say back to the tequila thing.
Yeah.
I've been sitting on this. You mentioned Clooney, you mentioned The Rock. Did you hear Clooney made so much money that he gave 10 of his friends $1 million each?
I heard it was 14.
Oh, was it 14?
I could be wrong, but I thought it was 14. Yeah.
Wow. What a guy.
If you got the money, like, why not? Right.
I think he made 500 mil. So
I hope it wasn't like everyone in Ocean's 11 and then like 3 other friends. I hope it wasn't like just all his rich friends.
Yeah, Matt Damon doesn't need it. Maybe the little Asian guy might, but Jesus. But I heard he gave it to like high school friends and college friends.
I
He
mean,
had them all
that's
out
the
to dinner.
shit, dude.
How
Can you
cool
imagine, like, fuck Oprah's look under your seat? He just blew her out of the water.
Yes, you're right. He gave them all suitcases like out of the movies where they flip it up and they flop open and it's just cash.
It'd be so great if they got tailed and someone robbed them. You know?
Now that's an Ocean's 11. The Ocean's 14.
He's like, who's doing it? Ironically, it's Andy Garcia. That's who got you back. Stole the money back.
Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a whole nother movie. But what a cool dude.
Yeah, what a fucking dude. Clooney is Clooney. I just watched an interview with him, and he's talking about Out of Sight, which I think is a great movie from the 90s.
Soderbergh, I think.
Soderbergh, and he's talking about how he and Soderbergh could not make a hit. Like they both were like dying to make a hit. And people were saying like Clooney's not a movie star, which like it's hilarious. If you look at him, you're like, the dude's Cary Grant. He's a movie star. He's like
Gorgeous.
as movie star, but he's also just like got it. Like, how do you not see that he's even on ER? You're like, yeah, this dude fucking rules. Like,
yeah, great actor and good looking.
But they were he was saying like Soderbergh and him could not get shit. No one wanted to work with either of them. And then they kind of just teamed up. And it's like, well, look what happened. They fucking Out of Sight. Also, I don't think did that well at the box office, but it got so much critical success that it didn't matter. People were like, oh, this is a great movie. Great movie.
Cheadle is a killer.
Albert Brooks.
J-Lo. Brooks, Ving Rhames. I mean, come on. It was such a cool stylized movie. Yeah, Steve Zahn's underrated, by the way.
So underrated.
Great actor. Saving Silverman. That Thing You Do. Great comedic actor.
He's great. Yeah, that movie ruled. I love that movie.
I love movies like that where they actually give a shit. I know the box office doesn't care, but any kind of movie like that where it's very artistic looking and you can tell the director has a vision.
And the dialogue kicks ass. Like the opening scene where you should just YouTube this if you haven't seen it. Clooney robs a bank, and the way he does it is so fucking evil and with a smile. It's so like not how you think of him, where he's just telling this poor little bank clerk, he's like, if you don't put the money away, I'm going to shoot your friend in the head over there. That's my friend talking to your friend. And of course he doesn't even know the guy. That's not his, this is just his shtick. But by the way, shtick was the Jewiest way to talk about a bank robbery in history. That's his shtick. That's his little routine. No, but the way he delivers this is like, it was badass. It was like a cool scene.
Super cool. And, oh shit, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, so cool. I read this article about Clooney because you want to hate the guy. Not hate him, but you want to be like, all right, let me find a flaw in this guy. He's too handsome. He's too suave.
Yeah.
But he's obsessed with directing. He wanted to direct. So he got into Hollywood just so he could direct, which I think is so cool. Like he said, I'll do Facts of Life. I'll be the handyman, literally the handyman on Facts of Life, which is just some rinky-dink sitcom. And he just worked his way up slowly, and then he directed Good Night and Good Luck, and it was like a
great
huge
movie.
hit.
Yeah,
and that's all he wanted to do.
Well, before that, I think he directed Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Also a really cool movie. I mean, yeah, he's great. I love the guy.
Yeah, and Sam Rockwell's another killer that no one talks about.
He's doing fine. People talk about him.
All right. I hope.
He's doing great. He's in a lot of shit.
I hope so. I worry about these guys. He's like a Nick Griffin to me, where I'm like, do people know about this guy?
He's doing great.
I just assume if you're not The Rock.
Guy. He's in fucking. He probably works more than he can fill his schedule. His agent's probably like, dude, you're good.
I hope so.
Sam Rockwell, really?
I don't know. I mean, he's not like, he should be on TMZ or Front Page News or Variety. Moon is killer.
First off, if you're on TMZ these days, you either cheated or you're dead. So you don't want to be on TMZ.
Good point.
He was in Charlie's Angels as the villain like 20 years ago. That was he's working. He's been working forever.
Good.
He was just in that Martin McDonough movie with Frances McDormand. He's working everywhere.
Oh, that's right. 3 Billboards or whatever.
Yeah, he's in a ton of shit.
Good point. All right. Thank God. I turned to my aunt there. I'm like, I've never heard of him in anything. And I'm like, he's in 18 movies
he's in
last year.
Dude, Moon. He's in go to his IMDb and you're like, this dude's in every movie.
That's true. You're right.
7 Psychopaths he was in recently.
Yes. He's just that good. He just slips into a role.
No, he's fucking awesome, but he's doing fine. He's not. I'm not worried about him.
All right, if they're not at the top of the Forbes list, I'm like, oh, this guy's struggling. He's probably homeless. I'm worried about him.
No, he's all right.
But it just feels like if you got a liquor now, it used to be like in the 90s, Michael Jordan opened a steakhouse. Holy shit, he's made it. And now you got to have a liquor.
Oh, Jordan had everything. Jordan had a cologne.
That's true.
It smelled like dog shit. He Jordan just that was like the 90s. I feel like just put your name on fucking anything.
Yeah. Well, the sneakers were such a hit that I think he was like, what else? Let's keep going.
Sneakers are like the all-time biggest. I mean, because he was with Nike when Nike was shit. You saw that in the doc, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Isn't that crazy to think Nike was like a middle-of-the-road shoe company?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's insane. Because it's literally now like, yeah.
Zion got into maybe it was Steph Curry. Under Armour?
Under Armour. Yeah, he got a fat deal but that's the way to do it. Everyone makes fun of him because his sneakers do look like geriatric nurse shit. I mean, they don't look great, but that's how you do it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah, the 90s were like throw your name. I was thinking about this because remember Bill Hicks had that famous bit about how Leno is a sellout because he did Doritos commercials.
Yeah.
And literally now, if Bill Hicks were a comic, he'd have a podcast where he'd be like, all right, fuck the world, fuck Trump, fuck everyone, fuck Biden. Adam and Eve, adamandeve.com for all your dildos and sex. He would do fucking anything now, bro.
You're right. You're right. That's so true.
I guess he shat on Leno because Leno was like he was on the Tonight Show already. He's like, how much do you need? But I still think about that where it's like, fuck it, man. Who gives a shit at this point?
I know. Once I saw David Cross do Alvin and the Chipmunks, I was like, all right, this is the like altiest kind of like on the fringes guy ever. And he's doing Chipmunks. Like, come on. The guy's trying to pay his mortgage.
You know, David Cross gave shit to every comic in the 90s who did anything like that. And now he's doing Alvin and the fucking Chipmunks. Come on, man.
Exactly. They all fall through because you got to pay the bills and you want a boat or you want a house in Catalina, whatever it is. So I get it. Who's the joke on, really? Like, oh, fuck you, sell out. You're like, I'm hawking Doritos so I can have a helicopter.
Yeah, it's fucking dumb. I don't get it. But I also think like now I see Kevin Hart on TV so much where I'm like, I'm watching the Knicks game the other night and his ad played literally every break to the point I'm like, I got to mute the TV because it's making me fucking insane. And then I'm like, he's getting paid every time that comes on.
I know.
And I'm literally like, he's getting paid so much that I'm like, I can't hear anymore. Stop it.
Yeah. He's a guy where I'm like, I get it. You're 5'1", you're hustling, but like, take a breather, man. Like, I like to work.
That's why he's that big, dude.
I guess so.
Because I remember I was on, what's that show in Indianapolis where they fucking hated me?
Crackers?
Yeah, but what's the morning show they do there?
Oh, Bob and Tom.
Oh man, so I'm bombing on that shit, and he called in to promote a new movie. It's like that's how he's wired. He'll call the local Indianapolis show.
Oh my god!
Because that's how you get that successful. You're like, you know.
Yeah, I heard a story about him back when he was like a young comic in Philly, like just starting to headline. He would stand outside after his show, he'd kill. Then he'd stand outside after a show with like a marble composition book and go, hey, if you like the show, write your email down and I'll email you next time I'm in town. And so, 100 people would write their email down and literally he would put it in, by hand, one by one. And then next year he would hit them up again and they would come back out and he would sell out everywhere.
I tried to do that after I heard him say that on Marin, I think, and I tried to do that, and I got bored.
That's insane.
One by one was a lot. It was, and also like it's a fucking insane. You start trying to look at people's handwriting. You're like, is it a 3 or an E?
Right.
I've seen people do it with like the iPad, but now it's like just fucking follow me on social media, man. Come on, don't make me like we have to do so much shit that the people that came before us didn't have to do. Like Jerry Seinfeld didn't have to cut up clips and get them captioned and be like find like the amount of content that we have to put out to stay relevant now. Like I don't want to hear it from our fucking elders, dude. I don't.
I get it, man. I mean,
and I love the guys. I respect them, but like, I don't want to hear it. You were able to tour with the same fucking hour. I
know. You do one Tonight Show or one whatever, Leno, Letterman, and you were in. Like Letterman, not one. I shouldn't say that, but like that was the social media. It was TV. That was it. You do an evening at the Improv.
They were gatekeepers, but still, like, dude, I feel like we have to do like the amount of Carsons it used to take to be a star. We have to do like specials now.
Oh, that's good. That's a good way to put it. I think you're right. Like Bill Burr said it best. He's like, a special is now just an advertisement for the road. Like, here, if you like some of this, come see me on the road. Where the special used to be a special. It was almost like a movie. Like, here we go. This is it. And you'd get popcorn. You'd call your friends. You'd put on HBO and you watched it. Now it's like, here's an ad for my road shit. Come see me on the road.
That's a good point. I thought of a Carson bit that this would never work with anyone but a comic. But like, you ever going down on your girlfriend and she's coming and she gives you the little motion up to come up and fuck her?
Yeah.
That's like the equivalent of the Carson. Like, you made it to the couch.
Yeah, right.
That's like that'll never make anyone but a comic even smile. But I was like, that's my one.
Yeah. See,
Carson
I never got to the couch when I eat a girl out. I just get this. I have to
leave. Yeah, perfect.
Which is what he used to do when he didn't get to the couch. But yeah.
Totally. Oh, I got it. I loved it.
Yeah, only a comic would get that. So what's your pet peeve? We went off on a whole nother tangent.
I got a few. I'm trying to think which one to do it with. I think this might be mine. So, all right, I'll try this one. Meditation all right, I'm trying it. It's very hard. I know you're not into it.
I tried it. I really gave it a real shot, like 10 tries, and I can't do it.
You're too restless, I think. That's my guess. Here's my thing. I tried. I even called, I texted, I didn't call him, but we were texting for a while about it, and I was like, tell me what to do. He's into TCM. I'm very base level beginner. And
TCM. Turner Classic Movie? What is that?
Yes.
I know Transcendental.
Yes, it's a Humphrey Bogart meditation. It's when I do Edward G. Robinson. You go, she? That's how you meditate. That's my mantra. See?
Right. Well, what is TCM?
TCM is Transcendental meditation.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing very base level shit. I'm doing like Headspace, the app. I just started, and look, it drives me insane. Some of I'm there because I have bad depression I'm trying to deal with, and you have this crippling depression, and the guys are like, this is for depression. Notice everything in your room, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, notice the smells. I'm like, the smells. I'm here because I'm fucking miserable. You want me to like, I'm gonna be like, what is that? Takeout Chinese? I'm cured. Thank you.
Right. Yes.
My leftovers, great. It drives me insane. So that's one. Yeah, that's one that's driving me crazy. The whole like notice everything in your body. It's a pandemic, dude. I haven't been exercising. It's like literally everything that's like triggering my fucking mental illness already.
Yeah. So, I'm with you. I mean, they go, do you hear the fan? Focus on the fan. You're like, I hear the fan, but I also hear the hobo in the street yelling, and he's talking about, the aliens and the Jews and whatever. And you're like, this is not helping.
Notice all the sounds. What is it? A black Israelite? What the fuck was that? Is he in the hallway? How'd he get here?
Right. No, exactly.
It's New York. Maybe it's not the best place to meditate. You hear sirens and shit.
Yes, gunshot.
But then you have that moment where you're like, well, maybe they're worse off than me, and that maybe gives you a little boost. But it's
that's not bad.
It's a lot right now. I'm gonna stick with it as long as I can. But
try it, I guess. But
there are a lot of them. There's some for creativity. I just want to I think the focusing on the breathing. I get that. I can get down with that.
That's good, but. It might be a bit. Maybe you have this bit, but it just seems weird that you have an app for meditation. The phone is the whole struggle with frustration and addiction. Is that yours?
No, it's not mine.
Okay, but yeah, it's just weird that I'm going to the phone again to escape, but I'm back on the phone. It just feels counterproductive.
That's a good point. Like literally everything is in the phone. The dating apps, the email, porn, Twitter,
everything, negativity, whatever. Just
pictures
media.
Pictures with my mom.
It's all there.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, so meditation I think would be my pet peeve, but I'll stick with it. And
they say it takes practice.
I'll report back. What about a rec? Any good recommendations?
Oh, baby. Well, this is going to be a weird one.
Hit me. I love it.
I'm going outside the box here. We usually do movies, music, documentary, whatever it is.
And it's anything. It's
Okay.
it's what we make it.
All right. So it's a drink. It's a one more drink. It's a boozy show. I gotta recommend, and I wish I had one on me. There's there's White Claw, there's Bud Light, whatever, seltzer. There's all these weird ones, but High Noon. I drank it all Christmas. It's a great. It's not a seltzer beer, whatever you call it. It's a actual vodka and seltzer drink. It's not like a malt liquor.
Wow.
It's actually liquor.
And you go and you can get it like at the corner store. They have it.
Yeah, it's the same shape. It's like the skinny can, but it's a great substitute where you actually are drinking a cocktail in a can instead of just drinking malt liquor, which is White Claw.
They're really whittling their way into the corner store, because I feel like some of those corner stores weren't allowed to sell the hard liquor. They were only allowed to sell the beer, and now they're kind of finding ways in.
Right. It's a good way in, and like a lot of people think these White Claws are like healthy for you. It's just corn syrup and other shit and chemicals. It's still bad for you. It's just better than beer fat wise.
Well, it's less calories, right? Yeah.
Less calories. But this one is actually a liquor and a seltzer in a can. And I can't recommend it enough. And the hangover wasn't so bad.
I don't think that's healthy.
Well, I'm not saying,
this one's actually hard liquor. Like, all right. I think probably still not healthy.
There's no chemicals, though. It's just liquor and seltzer, and we're moving on with our life in a can. It's not trying to trick you.
Yeah, I don't think anyone with the White Claw people, I hear you. I don't think any of them are health junkies. I don't think any of them are like, wait a minute.
I think girls like them, like women like them because they're low-cal.
They're good. Well, they're low-cal.
And they're good.
I
drank 5 tonight.
They're fucking great. They have them at the club?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
all the clubs have them.
Love them.
Yeah.
It's great for a beach, all that shit.
Now, White Claw is damn good. You know, it's good when like every other brand is fat you in your shit. I see Corona, I see Bud Light. They're all stealing it.
Yeah, they're all stealing. But High Noon's a little different, and they taste great. And I had like 10 of them. The hangover's not that bad. It's a little more pure. It's still shit. It's still in a can, but it's liquor and not malt liquor with flavors.
That's interesting.
So that's my rec.
I'll give it a go. Yeah, I mean, I like making my own shit, but also it's a good idea sometimes when you want to go to you want a drink on the walk or something. It's kind of
nice. Exactly.
Especially pandemic. Man, it's getting cold, but I'll tell you, these New York shows, it's crazy. We're still keeping them going. They got the heat lamps on people. I like the outdoor vibe still. It's kind of still feels guerrilla style. It's still kind of exciting to me. So
totally,
I'm sticking with it.
I did that Phantom Power. I know it's not New York, but that Phantom Power joke in PA on your recommendation, and it was like people out there with blankets, there's barrel fires, there's heat lamps, and they were great.
It's great, man. The outdoor thing is like, I mean, I think after this pandemic, I'm done with it forever. So I'm trying to be like, let's really enjoy it. I don't think I'm going to be hitting people up for the rooftops once the Comedy Cellar is open, but
no, we did our time. Do you think that? I think one good thing about the pandemic, and I hate it, I'm ready to get out. It's a bitch, but we're gonna appreciate the shit out of everything. Every diner hang, every restaurant, every bar night, every flight, everything. It's just gonna be special again.
I agree. Yeah, I saw this Buddhist saying. I'm paraphrasing it, but it's something about to have extreme joy, you must have extreme pain as well. And I'm kind of like, I didn't need this much joy, dude. I would have been happy at like a 3 or 4. I didn't need,
It's not like we didn't enjoy these diner hangs to begin with. We loved every minute of them. But
dude, I feel like how many times we text each other like, we have such good lives. We were like, we were grateful. I feel like
that's a good point. We had gratitude.
We'll be even more grateful. But I mean, how often do we like text each other like, we just hung with one of our heroes? Like we paid attention.
Yeah,
we were present.
That's true. Well, we had such normal lives. We're very normal guys. That's what I love about comedy. Now I'm getting drunk and I'm spitting jizz here.
Fuck it. But I'll go one more. Why not? I'm a little.
There you go.
One more drink.
This actually feels like hanging out. Now it really feels.
I love it.
This was a tall glass here, and I'm out at the bottom, and I had a bunch of White Claws. But this is what's great about comedy, and I know this has been said before, but Mick Jagger is never going to see some bar guitar player at a bar and go, we should hang out. And yet we've hung out with Dave Attell and Seinfeld and Bill Burr and all these fucking legends because comedy is so much less pretentious than everything else. And we're normal guys. Like you meet these actors and they're fucking cunts. They're the worst. You're like, you're not even living on Earth. You're so out to lunch, these actors. And
you're right. There's still a connection to bar life and still like, and something about bar life is very egalitarian. You're all in the bar together. There's something that's very everyman about bars. That's kind of what I love about them.
It's called a pub. It's public. That's the whole thing. Public.
And there's something about once you become too famous, we always say you're not funny anymore. Usually there's a few exceptions, but like when you're too famous, a lot of time you're not funny because you don't have a connection to reality. And, a lot of actors are weighted hand and foot, and you're just not a person anymore. I'm not saying, of course, these actors like work for their shit. So many of them work for their shit. I mean, that's a type of rejection that's, I think, to me, more painful than what we do. It's
good point.
The waiting around and all that shit.
Yeah.
But like we at least can make our own opportunities. We're like, shit, a pandemic, we'll start our own show, Right. There is something cool about that, whereas actors kind of have to wait on a show. Like I watched this thing and it was cool, but it's just so weird. Like it was Christine Baranski, Meryl Streep, and Audra McDonald. They sang a song from Company, the Stephen Sondheim show, and it was on fucking Zoom.
Really?
And it was cool. They're all incredible. I was like, shit, I didn't know Meryl Streep could sing. You're like, fucking A, man. She could do it. But they all had amazing voices, and it was a cool production. And
that is cool.
But it's on Zoom, but they're still doing someone else's words. Like we can still kind of make and that is kind of cool. So and there is something about how accessible comics are, that it's good and it's bad. Like I'm sure every once in a while I go a little crazy. I'm like, but then I'm also like, I do like that I know who's coming up. I do like that.
Right.
That guys ahead of us know about us. It's like, there is something, and I'm sure it's all the same in different art forms, different mediums or whatever, but there is something in comedy where like a lot of the legends are pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah. The funny ones are usually cool. It's funny how the mean ones are always like, I always thought you were a hack anyway. But
isn't it amazing how they're like shitty to you on the way up and you're just like, I'm gonna pass you, dude. Like you're fucking you're trash. It's weird. I remember someone did that to me at the strip once, at the comic strip. I was auditioning and they did like an American Idol style thing. And they just like trashed the auditioning comics, and it was a hell gig. I had to wait for fucking ever, And that auditioned me so many times this trip. It's crazy. These clubs want you to be so fucking loyal.
I know.
So badly on the way up. And I still have love for this trip because I'm like, who cares? It's all I still love it. But like some of the shit they put you through, and then you're getting critiqued by like a fucking like a restaurant host, basically. Like, who are you? You're not going to be around, man. So,
I know.
So then they had comics sign up, which I'm like, in my head, I'm like, what comics in their fucking right mind are signing up to critique other comics? Like, it's so uncomic. Like, what?
Right.
Anyway, I remember a comic I didn't respect was like, a little hacky. And I was like, I want to be like, you're the biggest fucking hack I've ever seen.
Of course.
And and another guy was like, I mean, and then I remember I auditioned again the week later, and two comics I respected judge, and they gave me love. And it's like, it's so fucking dumb.
There you go.
The people that are shitty to young comics on the way up, it's like,
it's crazy.
That's on you. That's in your fucking toxic world.
You're insecure. It's projection. They're all projecting. I have some doubts. I have some thoughts. So I'm going to put that shit on you. It's all fucked up. It makes me sick. And you see these celebrities now, like Wonder Woman or whoever the fuck is doing these like black and white. Yeah. She's doing these black and white things. All these actors.
Imagine.
And you're like, oh, God.
That was rough.
And I get it. They have good intentions, and maybe they're donating and all that.
But they're out of touch.
They're out of touch.
And
that's
course.
The key.
Like I don't know her. I don't know. I mean, like, like I know she's also done a lot of good. Like I'm sure she's inspired a ton of little girls. There aren't many female The funny thing is, I didn't even see Wonder Woman, but from what I saw, like there's so few female superhero movies. I saw Birds of Prey. I thought that was a good movie, but that movie that's like an edgy female superhero movie, and it fucking bombed at the box.
Interesting.
I think it bombed because it looked a lot like Suicide Squad, and I think that was horrible. But it was actually a good movie. Yeah. But with Gal Gadot, it's like it's just that I'm famous. I'm surrounded by people, like she's gorgeous. She's surrounded by people who are just like, let me do this. Let me dab your head here. Let me do your hair.
Yes.
Make sure nothing is wrong at any time. Maybe you need a pimple sometimes.
Yeah, that sinks in. And look, my point is, I don't know why we got off on her. I'm not trying to single her out, but like, I'm just saying the out of touchness is comics. Our whole job is to attack that and not be that and fuck her and joke about people who do that. And that's what I love about this business.
The good comics call out bullshit.
Yeah, we call out bullshit. We make fun of that. It's policing kind of pretension. And some comics, let's be honest, they get wrapped up in the
they get caught up in it. Yeah.
That.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But that you said it very well, policing pretension. And there's something about it. Like the idea that, like, I'm sure people have talked about this to death, but the idea that you singing Imagine, like the country's bleeding money. People are out of work. Small businesses are crumbling.
I know.
Recession. People are depressed out of their mind. She's like, what if I sang a song?
I know.
It's like there's something tone deaf about that. So, it's like it's a lack of awareness, but then also like it feels arrogant. And
yes,
it is a bummer when you see comics pop up in that shit because you're like, you're better than that, and you know better than that.
Completely.
Or maybe you're not. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, maybe you're not. And it tends to be the funny ones. The funniest comics are the ones who are kind of void of that. Like no matter how much you do to them, you praise them, you shower them with compliments and money and fame. It's still in there. There's that, like, how many times do you put on a leather jacket and you hear every voice in your head going, yeah, you look great, but what are you kidding? You can't pull this off. You're not going to go out. You're going to go outside with this thing. What are you, Fonzie? Get the fuck out of here.
We'll give you a pass during a special, but other than that, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
There's something about comics that we're like almost supposed to be the kids that didn't get into the party, I think.
Yes. Oh, completely.
Right? We're like on the outside, like, I know a guy, just let us in. They're just like, sorry, you're not.
Yeah.
I remember Quinn once said, we're supposed to be the losers.
Yes.
That's why we're funny. And it's like, I don't know if we have to be like fucking losers, but we should be the winners of the winners. And that is like,
yes.
I think that keeps, when you're winning, what's funny unless you're like delusional, unless you're like Danny McBride winning or something.
Right. Yeah, that's funny.
Or Rodney Dangerfield winning, where it's like that. It works if you're like in Back to School or some shit. But like,
yeah.
It usually it is a hard pull off. It's also Rodney looks the way he does. Too.
That all factors in. I remember Julie Louis-Dreyfus had a great point about Kramer. She's like, he thinks he's the funniest guy in the room, and he's like this unemployed hipster doofus with high hair and a shirt from the 40s. That's why he's funny. He thinks he's the guy, but he's not the guy. And we all know he's not the guy, but he thinks it's like Tom McCaffrey. He's cocky and he's a fucking Joe Schmo from New York. And he thinks he's this hot shit. And that's fucking gold.
Those of you that don't know Tom McCaffrey, great joke writer.
Brilliant.
Talks like New York guy, but he talks like a Valley girl for some reason. He'll be like, I'm awesome, right? I'm so good at comedy. That's how he would talk. And he would do jokes like, I just read Jenna Jameson's autobiography. The movie was better. Just jokes so like that. Good. He was great. I mean, such a funny dude.
Such a funny dude. Such a great joke writer. Plus he had the persona. That's why, like, people always say, oh, good looking comics, they don't work. And you're like, they do work if you're smart enough to know about, like, Daniel Tosh is a good looking guy, but he's like, I'm going to go in on that. Yeah, and that's why he's clever. Well, that's why he made it.
You brought up Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She's gorgeous. I mean, like, she's still beautiful. I mean,
yeah, she doesn't age.
Funny's funny, man. I that's the other thing, but she is playing, like, even on Veep, she's playing a fucking mess. Like, she has succeeded to the. It's funny. It's also just inherently funny that you were the Veep. that you've ascended to the highest level. Oh wait, no, you didn't.
Great point.
You're right here. So yeah, I think when she's so good at just like still being self-deprecating and still being, I mean, she's incredible. I love Julie Louis-Dreyfus. I was on Colbert with her once and I was so bummed I didn't get to meet her.
What?
So bummed.
No, she's a beast.
That was like, it's rare that I'm like, I need to meet you.
Yes.
Like, just a hello.
Oh God, that kills me. You didn't meet her.
We didn't cross paths.
Wow. So many hours of my life have been watching her and just been in awe. You know, I mentioned the Bisque. I mean, I know everything. I watched Veep, I watched Seinfeld. And she was on SNL for like 10 minutes.
Legend.
What also rich kid, her dad's like an oil tycoon.
Oh, but no, beyond rich. They're like
beyond rich.
I think they're like, are they Vidal Sassoon?
I don't know about that. Somebody Google that. Give that a Goog. I don't know about Vidal.
We don't have anyone here.
I thought he was like an oil guy or a ship magnate, something like that.
She's great.
She's great. And hot and rich and still funny.
I love her. My rec, I've been telling you about this. I don't know if you got on it yet. Rick and Morty.
I gotta get on this.
Okay. Let me tell you something. First off,
please.
The show is great. I think the fans push people away. The fans are annoying. The fans of Rick and Morty. Yes.
That's or religion.
This is a real Catholic church of a show here. And no, it's fantastic, man. It's like, it's so out there. You know what I love about it? It's basically, quick rundown. It's just like a grandfather who's the smartest guy. He's the smartest guy in the world. He's a genius scientist. He's created portals that can go anywhere, other dimensions. He's also funny as shit. He's quick with a one-liner. And he takes his grandson on all these adventures, and just so many great plots. And the idea that I think there's something about like all the chaos and disorder in the world right now. The fact that this guy's in complete control of all of it and no one can beat him because he's this omnipotent type of being is providing a lot of comfort right now for me.
Interesting.
And it's really Dan Harmon created it, who's fucking brilliant. The guy is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Highly recommend.
That's a great premise. Just hearing the premise, because I've watched one or two and I was like, it's okay. And I don't know if I get it. What am I missing? Because I was like, the jokes aren't amazing, but I think when you're like, oh, it's a grandfather delivering a joke.
Oh, dude.
Like, I think I was missing something.
Oh, yeah. I was walking with Ryan Hamilton, our buddy, the other day, and Ryan loves the show too. And Ryan goes, yeah, the grandpa almost is like a tell to me, where he's like this kind of wisecracking guy that keeps winning. Like when you picture a tell on stage, you like, he never loses in even the slightest, you know, even when a joke misfires, he saves it. And that's kind of like what the grandpa does. He's like this genius, but he farts and he burps. There's like you talked about no pretension. Like that's what that show has for me, where he has the wittiest lines, but then he'll like fart. And you're like, it's so rare. A guy just burps while he talks. It's fucking interesting. It takes you a second. Like, is he burping? And you're like, oh, they just have a guy who burps. So
right. Okay. All right.
I'm in on it.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm in on it.
There's a pilot though. Is it on YouTube or where is it?
HBO Max.
Okay. I have that. All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm going all in because
best streamer right now.
All right, I'm in.
Oh, and I watched Soul on your recommendation.
What'd you think? Give me the honesty.
Very, very good. I really liked it.
Pretty good.
I saw Nikki Glazer tweeted, Soul was okay, which made me laugh because it's like literally every person I see is like, it's the greatest movie I've ever seen.
Right.
I know. I loved
it's the greatest, but for a kids movie, it's pretty damn deep. And
I'll tell you this, it doesn't feel like a kids movie to me.
No, that's how good it is.
What fucking kid is into this movie? It's like about death, and it's
afterlife, like souls, all that metaphysics. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's my critique. It didn't feel like a kid's movie. I watched some. No, I enjoyed the movie. I'm just saying, I watched this movie about death and purgatory and accepting that your life is over and giving up on your dreams. It felt very much like where we're at right now.
Yes.
I watched it with Ryan Hamilton again, and Ryan even commented as he runs down the steps to go into the jazz club. He's like, that may as well have been the Comedy Cellar.
Exactly.
You know? So the fact that he has to like give up on his dreams, and it's like, you have all those moments where you're like, this will be the time that I figure it all out. And it felt very relevant, especially now.
Somebody had a great point. I was talking to them about Soul, and they were like, it kind of just completely negates religion. It's just like there's an afterlife, or there's no like heaven or hell. It's just like we're souls. This is how it works. And I was like, oh shit, you're right. Never thought about it that way.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's weird for some kids, I'm sure.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a kid's movie. Like I get how like even Up is a kid's movie, even with that fucking depressing opening.
Oh yeah, brutal.
But then you think about it, you're like all those movies have some weird parental shit or like loss, like Bambi, even going back, or like
Good point.
Lion King. They all have something. That
Yeah.
You're like, damn, I guess this is how you introduce a kid to all this stuff.
Let me ask you a slightly offensive question while I have you. We're talking about kids' movies. Somebody told me Fievel Goes West is a Jewish kids movie.
Never heard of it.
What?
Fievel?
The mouse?
I don't know it.
Wow. Okay, maybe not then. If you don't know it, as a Jewish fella, I feel like you would know it.
I'm not the spokesperson.
I know, but you grew up in that era.
I never heard of this.
Fievel Goes West. Wow. Okay.
I might have seen it when it came out, but I was 5 when this came out, so I don't.
I figured that was right up your anal. Fievel Goes West.
What was your go-to movie as a kid? What was your favorite kids movie?
I loved Aladdin. Huge Aladdin fan. I liked him. I liked Robin Williams is in it. It felt like actually a funny movie for kids.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Yes, Gilbert, Robin. It was great. It was a great combo. So there's comics in it. So I always loved Aladdin. But let's see. I grew up fast I watched Animal House when I was like 5,
What?
I was way too young. My parents had
But you don't even get it though at 5. You're like, what am I watching, right?
I just loved the fact that these guys were living life and going crazy and all that.
That says so much about you that you watch Animal House at 5.
Caddyshack, all that shit. I loved Bill Murray. He was my hero. What about Bob?
Bill Murray was my guy too. That's interesting. Like I rewatched Groundhog Day and I was just like, man, I loved him so much. Like I still love him.
Subtle.
Yeah. He was just like cool. We talk about like, it's funny how we just shat on comics for being cool. Cause I do think Bill Murray had like a cool vibe. It was always like very like, okay. Like it was always like, he'd always say like, go fuck yourself without saying go fuck yourself.
Yes. He was kind of a cunt, but you loved him, but he was an everyman, but he was smarter than everybody, but he was also depressed. I mean, he had so many layers and he could just deliver a line and you felt like you were in on it and they weren't. I mean, it was brilliant.
Yeah, I remember I love how much this podcast just devolves into movie talkers. We're both fucking nerds. We're both movie nerds. But I remember Quick Change. I loved when I first saw it.
Love it.
Love that one. What about Bob is funny as shit too.
Oh, so funny. But as a comic, I'm so insecure. I got to get a laugh every 10 seconds. I got to have punchlines out the ass. And he could just milk it and sit in it. And I loved it. And I think I'm kind of like in awe of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, sometimes we gotta sit in it. I mean, we're both, I think, similar in that way where we both need that bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
Laugh. And sometimes you gotta just say, nah, because I think we see some of the problem is you see some of those guys that take too much time and we're like, I don't want to do that.
Yes, exactly.
But when you do it just right, there's nothing better. I mean, like, I think that Freud would say laughter is a release of tension. And there's no greater release than when you make them work for it a little bit as an audience. So like, I think Murray kind of mastered that for sure.
Well said. Yeah, great point. What do you think about now with like younger people? Like my girlfriend is 7 years younger than me, and movies to her, we quote Goodfellas, we quote Bill Murray, we can quote most movies. Movies had such an impact, and she's like, "Oh, I never saw this." I'm like, "You never saw Coming to America?" She's like, "I've never heard of it." I'm like,
I had to show a girl Coming to America. Yeah. And then you turn to that dude, you're like, oh, I'm just the dude. Like I'm that dude cliche. Like you need to see this movie.
Yes. I'm like, you've never seen Pulp Fiction? Pulp Fiction like changed my life, changed the way I looked at things in the world. She's like, I've never seen Pulp. I'm like, oh my God.
Our buddy Ronan Hirschberg, I was talking to him today and he said the funniest thing to me where he said, I'm alone in this pandemic. I'm alone. So I'm just watching great movies. Which is like, he's like, that's what you do when you're alone. You're not going to like shit on a movie by yourself. Like I'm not going to say it alone. I was like, oh, that's such a fucking great point. But
that's a great point.
so he's like, I'm just watching like Citizen Kane. And you're like, that's kind of, it gets boring when you're only watching greatness. You kind of want to watch like something you want to watch like Point Break every once in a while, you know?
Right.
My point is,
you need nachos after a fillet every now and then.
Of course. And there's nothing better than watching like Speed with someone. I think Speed is a good movie, but like, there's nothing better than watching a movie like that and just like, I mean, Keanu's acting in that movie, like he's gotten way better. That wasn't like peak Keanu yet, you know?
Good point.
So it's like, so you can still kind of shit on the acting a little bit. And I kind of, dude, what was the line again?
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Pop quiz, hot shot. Oh, dude.
That's such a, Jeff Daniels is in it for like 5 minutes, and Dennis Hopper's the villain. I mean, that movie's all over. Sandra Bullock is like a young starlet. That movie's great. I saw that in the theater.
Sandra Bullock. Yeah, dude, Dennis Hopper is the villain. So fucking funny.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do? What do you do?
There's a wildcat behind the wheel. Wildcat. Cameron from Ferris Bueller's in that. He's like the annoying cunty guy.
I love him, dude. Succession.
Yeah, great actor. Underrated actor.
He pops up everywhere too. He would like pop up on sitcoms even when he wasn't, where he was in like Scrubs. Dude, he's great on Spin City. He's in a great episode of Justified too. He plays a complex character for one episode. It's great. But yeah, dude, something about those shitty movies too. But I've definitely dated girls where you have to be like, I'm not an annoying guy to date, but there's a couple you gotta see. I'm sorry, like
I know. Come on, what are you doing? It's like saying you never heard this Beatles song, or you never heard "Stairway to Heaven," or like an Elvis tune. It gets weird after it's part of American culture.
Goodfellas is a must. Although I'll die on this hill. Sopranos is fucking way better, dude.
Well, it's a different animal. It's a show.
It's a different animal, but like when you got that type of animal, like it's like okay, it's like we're talking like a little animal. I found a way bigger animal. It's way more meat. Why am I going back to that little animal?
There's more meat. I mean, there's seasons, there's years and years of development, character, and psychologist, a therapist. I mean, imagine you could have a therapist with Joe Pesci.
Goodfellas is incredible, and I'll always love it. I'm just saying Sopranos is like my favorite thing. But I do think Godfather's incredible. Godfather 2 is incredible. Like, you rewatch some of these movies. I mean, I was with Sellouts the other day. He just was like, just watch the opening of Mean Streets again. I was like, all right, fine, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Like, let's watch it. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty fucking cool. I mean, like, you relive some of these 70s movies where they're like, hey, we're going to breathe. We're not going to. Now Instagram, it's like, I got to hit him. It's a reel. I got to hit him in 30 seconds. And then you look at Taxi Driver and you're like, all right, I'll take it.
It's so true. It's so true. But by the way, can I ask a dumb New York question?
Yeah.
Again, I've been drinking.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, good. I'm
gonna be gone by the end of this one. This podcast is gonna do damage to me.
Yeah, same. By the way, I think we're 8 hours in here, but I've lost all sense of time.
Who cares? We'll go long. Who gives a shit?
Sellouts is my guy. He's your guy. He knows his shit. He's the man. He's
our buddy. If you don't know, he directed my last special, Up on the Roof. It's on YouTube. He directs a lot of Mark shorts on his YouTube channel. He's a good buddy from New York. He's a great. I actually got to see him tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I'm writing a show with the guy. He's a killer. He's great.
He's funny, and he's a great dude, and he's got an adorable new Boston Terrier. So.
Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Good for him. So. We have a similar sense of humor. He loves like O&A. He loves Patrice. He loves all that shit. So he knows his stuff, and he's a great like portal into the real world. Uh-huh. He's got a wife, a kid, but he's still like an artist. So he's got like a toe and everything. But
I love it. It's something I love about him. He's a sensible artist, which is hard to find.
Yes, exactly. But here's my dumb question. He grew up. He's older than me. He grew up in Brooklyn. In the 40s or whatever, and you grew up in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Is there a New York connection at all, or is that some bullshit that I made up in my head?
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Of course. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Well, you never know. I mean,
it's instant.
It's a big city.
It was absolutely instant. Yeah. I mean, like even when we hit it off. We hit it off immediately. I mean, through our mutual friend Jessica Pilot, who is
right.
Was a Colbert Booker and produced Larry Charles' new Netflix show and has done a million things. But like, I'm just saying for the listeners here. But
sure. No, she's in mix.
she's a shark. I love her New York hustle energy, and
Yes, talk about a New Yorker,
a real New Yorker. And then she introduced Matt. She's like, "You'll love him. He's a New Yorker." It's the first thing she said. I mean, yeah, Matt and I hit it off instantly. And then when we were talking about the new special, the Up on the Roof special, he's literally to talk about New York. He's going, it's going to look like a punk version of Manhattan, like the opening of Manhattan. And I was like, you're talking my language now, you know, like this is what I want to hear.
That's a great way to put it. Great. And then
right as he said it, he goes, it was his city. And I turned to him, I go, and it always will be. I mean, that's how we fucking hit. And I was like, that's how I knew he was the right guy I love working with him. He's the best. I mean, the opening of Manhattan gives me chills. It's so fucking beautiful. Yeah, no, there's an absolute New York connection for sure.
By the way, is that Wagner?
Wagner? No, it's dun 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 Gershwin.
Gershwin, sorry. Wrong German. Yeah.
You know, it's public domain, so you can buy it.
What?
I think it's really cheap. Oh, it's so old. When music is that old.
Oh yeah.
Because we were going to use it, but it was just like, who are we kidding?
Yeah, yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Up on the roof, everyone's like, "All right, come on."
This is gonna sound racist, but hang tight.
every pre.
I'm giving a discretion. What do you call it? Disclaimer.
Sure.
But it's not racist, but it's gonna sound racist. As a white guy who grew up in a black neighborhood, you realize black people like started everything, like rock and roll, blues, you know, hip hop. So I get some kind of white hope in classical music because I'm like, thank God this wasn't stolen from a poor black guy. Like Elvis is just doing black shit, you know?
Oh yeah, no, Elvis
Bieber,
is one.
Justin Timberlake, they're just doing black culture. But then you hear classical and you're like, all right, thank God Whitey can come up with something. Jesus Christ. So I'm not saying it in that way. I'm just saying it like,
I think you're just saying it in the way that you want to bring stuff to the table. Yeah, no,
yes,
it's funny.
Exactly. I
was watching an interview with these basketball players today, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero. And you know, the first two guys are black and Tyler is a white guy. And they're talking about how they can't swim. And Tyler Hero says, I can't swim. And they're like, oh, all right, you're one of us. I was like, that's how they brought him in.
That's great.
You can roll with us. I was like, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. I love that shit. Yeah, that's what it's all about. I'm all about connecting, and everybody gets weird when you bring up race, but I want to connect.
No. I get that from you. As like as road dogs, we want to do every city, every market. You want to do red state, blue state. You want to. I mean, like, there's comics that want to play to their crowds, and there's comics that want to build their crowds. We want to turn people. Like, that's how we came up as comics. Is like, you know, doing those hell gigs where you're like, let me see if I could turn them. Yes, exactly. And even outside of comedy, I don't want to get to a place where like asking questions is considered taboo or offensive or whatever. I just want to I want to learn. I want to get to know. And the only way to get to know is to talk and discuss. And I worry that discussion is like off limits almost now. And I grew up talking shit with guys in my neighborhood. I went to public school. That was all it was. Like, what's up with this? What's up with that? You know, they'd be like, what's up with Nirvana? And I was like, what's up with, this Public Enemy or whatever the fuck? And I think that's a better way to be, but we get dicey. It gets in a dicey territory. Private school, but the same shit. We had the same conversations, you know? Yes. Here. Like, I think it's fascinating. Like asses. I think that's a whole black thing. Like, I grew up in the 90s and it was all tits. You don't like asses? No, I do, but it wasn't a thing. And I think black guys brought that in. It was all tits. I grew up more of a tit. Admittedly, I grew up more of a tit guy for sure. We all did. But now it's like, I'll say this about the asses. It's getting a little out of control. Like, you see some of these Instagram people and it's like this. And I'm like, all right, it's not supposed to be shaped like that. That's like, it's a little aggressive, is it not? It's a bit much, and I don't know if any can't be healthy. One of those Instagram, she just died. We talked about that in another episode. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So it's like everything. You go too far. You know, PETA's like, hey, you kill a cockroach is like killing a monkey. You're like, well, now you're going too far. You know, it's the same with asses. All right, we've gone off the rails here. We've gone off the rails. What? Give me a news story. Oh, geez, you got it. All right, so I heard this is a horrible joke, and I feel I love it. Embarrassed to say it, but it was
So a news story came out about how no one has had sex in space ever.
Ooh, okay.
And I thought, well, the people of the Challenger got fucked. All right. I'm embarrassed to even say it. But that was my one-liner.
You throw a lot of the pun stuff on Twitter, but it's clever and it works. I mean, it definitely is. That's a good joke.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a fun joke.
That's not one you're bringing on stage, but that's a good social media. That's a good like Twitter post for sure.
Right. Well, we both had a Casey Anthony joke.
What was yours?
Yours is way smarter than mine. Mine was very A to B.
What? Well, I mean, dude, it's fucking Twitter, you know?
Yeah. New York Post. Let me read their actual headline. It's
okay.
Casey Anthony launches private investigation business in Florida.
You can't write a better setup. It's Jay Leno. Did you hear about this? Casey Anthony.
Right. So of course you're like, well, Florida. That's funny right there.
That's funny right there. Yeah.
The meat of it is, I wrote. I heard also Ghislaine Maxwell is opening a women's shelter.
Oh, that's good. I like that. That's really good.
It's very, you got the.
I saw people post like OJ ones. That's way better. Yours is way better than the OJ thing I saw.
Oh, were people posting OJ?
I saw someone post like OJ. OJ's opening a PI thing too. I'm like, yeah, that's two. Two the same. Man, mine was that's like if Batman he became Batman after he killed his own parents. That was my angle.
Yeah,
it's
smart.
Well, it's all right. It's whatever. It's Twitter, good. Man. It's Casey Anthony, man. Fuck. You see that documentary?
Post. Yeah, I did actually.
Is it crazy? I heard it's nuts.
It's pretty wild, and it shows you how crazy she is.
She was blowing the lawyer, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's fucking nuts and like kind of attractive. So that throws a whole new wrench.
Well, that's how you get the documentary. You're not getting it if you're not a looker. I mean.
Yeah.
Jodi Arias is not getting all that airtime if she's just like a fucking 5 who hacked up her boyfriend, you know?
Right. It's funny. Looks equal TV time, like airtime.
Ted Bundy. I mean, is he that
both ways?
Is he that fucking?
I know he's still a murderer.
Is he selling a Netflix special?
Well, he got on Netflix. He did an hour
before us.
Yeah. Murdering is the key now.
No, he really that was a good one. That was one of the last. I heard the one something beach on HBO. You know what I'm talking about? That's like the new one.
Middle Beach.
Yeah, everyone's saying that's a really good one.
It's good. It's really good. It's a bummer, but it's good.
That's the thing. It's like, how much of this shit can you watch without without having an effect? It's already gray outside every day. It's already 40 degrees. Pandemic. I have to force myself to take a walk like I'm 75. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's true. But here's the first of all, that was directed and shot by the son of the kid whose mom got murdered. So that's also like a mind fuck.
Unreal.
But somebody has the theory that things are kind of obviously outside of the pandemic. Things are so easy now that we have to find sadness.
Interesting.
That's not my theory. Somebody
don't know if I agree with that. I definitely get that, but I think also when things are dark, you gravitate toward dark because it feels like it mirrors your reality in a way. Like, I mean, like when you have a breakup, you listen to breakup songs. You know? I think it's true. It makes you feel better in a weird way. So sometimes I think if it's not too dark, I mean, murder is like extreme, but if it's not too dark, it does give you like some sort of like, all right, there's other people going through what I'm going through.
I think people are dark. Like, well, it's just weird. We do this weird math. Like if you do a pedophile joke, people are like, hey, that's fucked up. That's horrible. But then they'll be like, the Michael Jackson doc is out. You're like, isn't that weirder? Isn't that worse that you're watching that with popcorn? Like he spread his ass cheeks and Macaulay Culkin. And I'm like, I made a joke about a fictional thing. You're watching the real thing. I don't know.
It's a good point. I heard someone make a great point about Michael Jackson is like, it took us so long to come to terms with the bad shit he did because we were complicit. I was like, that's true.
Yeah. And you're talented. People like it.
But also when you're the one, when you're like, I got a glove at home. Am I going to turn on him? You know what I mean? Like it is harder when you're part of the problem. People love to be a part of the mob, but it's not as easy to be a part of a mob when you're like, oh shit, I've got those records on my fucking phone.
Yeah, I grew up with that shit. My mom sings it. You know, when Remix to Ignition comes on, we're all fist pumping.
It is a good song.
It's a great tune. I can separate. Like, okay, this guy's a monster, but he put out good art.
Yeah, I
You
was
know,
thinking about. I was talking to my mom today about Roald Dahl.
big
Yeah,
anti-Semite.
again, well, it originally started with my buddy Ronan again, but we're talking about Roald Dahl and like how what an anti-Semite he is, and I mean the guy had the most imaginative mind.
Yeah.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach. You can't imagine that Jews are people too. Like at that point, it's like it drives me insane.
It's so true. It's fascinating. That's why racism is so fascinating, because you're like, it's like being a serial killer. Like, how does your mind go that way?
Yeah.
They're all people. We're just different pigment or religion or
It's a bummer when it's a childhood guy too, where you're like,
Yeah,
that guy fucking. I love
that
the
makes it
twits.
weirder.
I love this shit growing up.
I heard the guy who invented Rugrats hates Armenians.
Don't you dare. Oh, dude, the Rugrats. Talk about like the best voices ever.
Yeah.
All the voices are gold.
That's true.
Phil
Wow, I
and
never
Lil,
thought about that.
Tommy, they're all, you hear those voices, you're like, these are like a big reason for the show's success.
Completely, because the animation was like okay, but yeah, the voices were great.
But they're adorable in the animation. They're cute kids.
Yeah. Angelica was always terrifying.
Twat. I hated her.
We all hated her.
She grew up to be a real whore. You could tell. She really
Definitely. She was a cutter and she was promiscuous. No doubt about it.
Tommy was like, Angelica, you need to get it together. We're worried about you. And be like, shut up. Shut up. Fucking hammered.
That'd be a fun show. Rugrats now. Like now that they're like 17 or 18.
Yeah, that would be good. It's just dark as hell. It'd be great if they just went in a real terrible direction. I'll give you my news story is Chrissy Teigen.
What happened?
New York Post. She's been sober 4 months, which I'm like, first off, that's not a long amount of time when you're rich.
Yeah.
Right? That's when you live in a fucking 10 bedroom. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
like, alcohol's an escape. You don't need to escape when you're in a beachfront mansion. You know what I mean? Like, I deserve a fucking Medal of Honor every night. I don't have like 10 of these. That's
right.
Like, she's married to a fucking handsome musician.
Yes.
It's like your life is great. I understand it's a disease. I'm not trying to trivialize an illness, but like life is good. Let's be right.
Yeah.
I know she lost a baby, I think, but
Oh yeah, that's true. Was it a miscarriage?
I don't know, actually.
That's something about miscarriage.
I'm really judging someone without knowing the whole story. I will say that's part of the story, part of the show, I think.
But it's it's a bit. It's a bit. You don't know her personally, but
I don't know her personally. John Legend seems like a great dude. She seems all right, but I'm just saying the way we pat celebrities on the back for just generic accomplishments where it's like, when they lose weight or when they do, it's like, look, I get it's a stressful job. I get why you gain weight, but let's not suck them off for losing 20 pounds when they have a fucking trainer. All right, come on.
Yeah, and don't put that shit in our face when other people have real problems with like fentanyl and addiction and all this shit. It's like these people are poor and dealing with that, and it's a different world, and they should be more aware, I guess is my point. Like, also, is that even news? Was she even a drunk?
I mean, it's the Post. I know. I mean, but like people drink. I mean, I think people are all everyone's getting fucked up these days, man. Like,
yeah. Everybody's in rehab, and you can't blame them. I mean, suicide is higher. Everything's fucked up now.
And honestly, I get messages from people, and I'm sure you do too, saying, that they're struggling. So if you're struggling out there, man, just try to hold on. I think it's going to get better. But I know it's a tough thing, but there's help out there. Suicide hotline. Like do not try to hang on, because shit, man, dark year, but I think there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. So
I hope. And yeah, when the clouds clear, I think it's like you had that great tweet months ago where you said, isn't it amazing, like after all this, that people might still get offended at a joke?
Yeah.
And that sums it all up.
Well, I mean, it's going to be a while, but I think it's going to be a while before I think people are the first few months, I think, are going to be like the best of our lives.
I hope.
But yeah, I think there's going to be a period after where they go back into the comfort zone. I think, as you said before, like we're we're going to be like, oh, we're grateful. But I think people fall back into who they really are.
Right. Well, I don't think people realize that being upset by a joke is somewhat of a privilege. Like if you have the time to write about it and tweet about it and write a letter and Yelp and cancel and all that, like that means you got extra time, you got extra hours in your day. Like, who's not Yelping is kids making iPhones, or some lady who's getting beaten, or who has to go to a farm and or a mill, or a guy working at the factory. They're not
just reply to it.
Shit.
Thanks, lady, not getting beaten. Yeah, that's no. I also, I'll go the other way too. Your life is shit. No one with a good life is yelping negative reviews. No one is like, guess what? You get a bad food delivery. You're not like, dear burrito loco. Yeah. How dare you? Like, all right, guess what? No one getting their dick sucked is writing a fucking bad TripAdvisor review. So
good point.
Yeah, Jay-Z has not been on there. So
exactly. Good point.
It goes both ways, right? It's like privilege, but it's also like your life is probably horrible as well.
Yeah.
So I try to remember that whenever someone like tags me in a thing and they're just like, you're fucking the worst, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, but you felt the need to tell me that rather than just move on to the next thing. So there's some anger in here too. So just, it hurts. You're hurting more than I am on that front.
Good way to look at it. Great point.
So do you have a joke this week? A new joke?
Oh yeah, I feel like we're going long here.
But it's a hot ep though, right?
Hot ep.
I can't tell. Yeah, I mean, we're growing into it, man. I'm having fun doing this with you. It's also good to see it because I'm used to seeing your face at the clubs. I'm used to like running into you and we'll catch up. We'll like find a corner and just shoot the shit. And now it's like that's gone.
I know. That's such a part of comedy that nobody talked about, was like seeing the other comics, because we're weirdos. We're introverts, we're dark, we're fucked up, so we like seeing other comics because it's like, all right, I'm human, I'm normal, this guy's weird too, and that was a big part of it, and that's all gone. Even if you can get on stage on a roof or a field with a heater, you still lose the hang.
Yeah, it's different, and also like we took for granted like each other being stuffed into booths and just shooting the shit and getting hammered and just having those special nights and telling funny stories and shitting on each other. And there was what I really miss is like the way comics in New York kind of like we fuck with each other in this like playful way that's like all of our friends I feel like are good at it. And I love that, because whenever you're with someone who ball busts you and they're bad at it and you're like, ouch. Yeah. Okay. Like you're like, oh, I miss the comics who are like, they shit on me, but it's like, you can feel it's out of a place of love. And so that's tough too, to lose that type of interaction is tough.
And some comics are so good at that ball busting, quick witted thing that like, they can't do that right now. And that's gotta be killing. Like Phil Hanley is one of the quickest. Like,
he's still shitting on me. I talked to him all the time.
Great, good, because that's like a skill he has that I'm like, I don't want you to not have that or not be able to exercise that because you're so good at it.
Yeah, no, dude, he's so good at that shit.
Yeah. I mean, he had a line in your special that was like a great sidewalk line.
I mean, dude,
I'm glad this was documented.
Gold. I love that. When I said my biological dad lives in artist housing, but he's not an artist. And Phil goes, well, he is an escape artist. It's like classic. He's got that it's almost like the British type of ball busting.
Yes.
Like, it's almost like the butler in Arthur or something, where you're like, oh shit. It's like snooty. And you kind of like, bam, at the same time. I love that type of humor though. I like it. He's so good at that.
So good. And maybe it's Canadian. Maybe it's a Canadian thing because they're more British than we are, more European.
True. Yeah, it's like Arthur, wasn't it? Like, I haven't taken my bath. He goes, I'll let the media. Whatever the line is, I'm sure I butchered it, but it was something like that.
No, that's it. I'll alert the media. It's so good, so quick. All right, I'll try an idea
Try
here.
Something, please.
This could be a one-liner, but I'm missing something. So my girl wants to get pregnant. She wants to have a kid.
Wow. Holy, I love when you break news to me through bit.
Wow. This is my post. But I'm not saying we're having a kid. I'm just saying like she's letting me know she wants a kid.
But don't you love it
here's
when we're talking? I'm like, so I had a breakup, and you're just like, did you? And I'm like, that's how we communicate sometimes.
It's like that great Regan bit where his buddy gets divorced. It was like a 20-year marriage. He gets divorced. He goes golfing with this guy, and he comes home, and the wife's like, "What did he say about the divorce?" He's like, "Oh, it never came up." It's just like dudes hanging out. They don't talk about that shit.
He's a legend.
And
a great guy. And a great guy on top.
Great guy. Great comic. Legend, the whole thing. So she wants to have a baby eventually, but she's still young, and she's like, I'm so vain that I'm worried about getting pregnant and ruining my body. So maybe we should get a surrogate. And I was like, yeah, I'll just fuck her. But that's a little too harsh and too quick of a turn, I think, for the public. Because they're like, wait, what? So I'm just saying, like, the joke
I don't know. That doesn't hit. Did you try it yet?
I've tried it, but I'm saying fuck. So I'm like, maybe I'm getting a laugh on that. But I don't know if the audience is totally grasping what I'm saying.
A surrogate. So
like a surrogate to fuck is such a funny idea to me. Not just for her body, but like it'd be funny. The funny thing is she's having a baby still, but I'll fuck the surrogate who's still hot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's good. I think it's funny already.
Okay.
I like that. I'll just fuck her. You're like, I like that you're looking at it as a W. That you're just like, yeah, I get to fuck a different person. Like, that's how long you've been in a relationship. She's like, we've been together a long time. It's time we have a baby. And you're like, yeah, we've been together a long time. I would love to fuck a different person.
Right. Okay. I didn't know if it was clear.
I got it. I don't know if a crowd, because I will say this. I think the surrogate thing is like, I think it's rare is the thing.
Right.
Like you hear it amongst obviously the wealthy, and a lot of celebrities do it, I think. But yeah, I mean, I know it just because I've heard of it, but I don't know if it's common knowledge.
Okay, that's good.
But I think it's a bit. I think it's funny. As long as people get it, I think it's funny.
All right, I felt like
every once in a while when you have a funny enough bit, I'm like, who gives a fuck? I mean, like,
yeah.
The right people get it, and the wrong people will be like, oh, I should have known that.
That's true, but it's like we said earlier, we want to hit every group, every person.
Is it wrong to explain it in the setup, which is like when it might slow it down?
Man, maybe that's not bad. Maybe I can pretend like I'm dumb.
Which what is that? It's like, well, that's when you bring in a third party, and you're like, oh, cool.
Exactly.
I'll fuck her.
Oh, that might be a better way to do it, and it explains it a little. It's like kind of like 2 birds, 1 stone there. All right, that helps.
That's something there. I had something about. You ever watch Chopped?
Yeah.
You like that show?
I know. I love Chopped. I've seen 1,000,000 hours of Chopped.
I love that dude, Aaron Sanchez.
Oh yeah.
He's got the gang tattoos on his arm. So my angle is like I can't get this to hit right, but there's something here. Like every gang, every chef used to be in a gang for some reason, where they're just, where you're like, what fucking tortured past? They're always like, I heard him say, cooking saved me from going down a dark path. And my angle is like, what fucking gang just let you leave to pursue the culinary arts? You're like, is there some gang? They're like, there's only one way out of the Bloods, and they're like, what? Do I have to murder someone? They're like, no, you have to perfect this meringue right here. If you crush if you crunch a French tart, we'll let you walk. I need a better example, but there's something to that. I think
that's a great angle. There's something maybe to the knives. Like they both have knives, gangs and cooks. It's all about the knife. Like, and maybe when a body is. They got to get rid of a body. He's like cutting it up,
Oh yeah, like like they do it like it's an onion, like like that.
Yeah, exactly. They're chopping it like ginsu. They're like, oh, here's Sanchez, and he opens up his coat, and it's like all these great knives, like all the silver knives,
Also the mess. They're good at getting rid of a mess.
Yes, exactly. And they can use everything. That's the whole thing in Chopped is like you got to have a fucking kumquat, salmon, pepperoncinos and whatever. Like they can make something out of this body,
they're like cooking MacGyver. I like it. It's a perfect mindless show. It's a good time.
Love that show.
Love all that
That's so funny. He's in a gang. That's so true about chefs. It's like tattoos and checkered past.
They're badasses. Yeah.
Always.
It's also, I think it's a lot of times too is these restaurants are like some of the last places where they don't do like hardcore criminal record background searches.
Oh, that's funny.
I think that's one. It's like weirdly one of the last, because you think about it, you're like, oh, dishwashers. I think they're like, that's probably a job you get if you have a checkered past, right? But then you think about it, you're like, all right, well, they're in the kitchen. At that point, it's like you may as well just like, who gives a shit at that point, right?
Right. There could also be a bit, and this might be a stretch, but the gang, they lose him. He goes off to be a chef. I love the idea because my douchebag friends did this in high school, where they would come into the restaurant and like fucking, piss off the waitress and get shit faced. I like the idea of a gang being like, Sanchez is working at, Bubba Gump. And they all go in and like, terrorize the place. You get free drinks. He's a crypt. I'm a crypt,
Did you underage drink like crazy in I mean, you must have been an animal in New Orleans.
Dude, it was great. We knew every,
Fake ID?
What's that?
Fake ID?
No, we didn't need them back then. Like you could just go to a place and you had the one friend who had armpit hair and like a little cheese stash and he could buy. We were 14. He's buying shit at a bodega.
The 5'3" guy with sideburns down to here, and you're like, that's his talent. He can go first.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, give me the cigarettes, and they let that slide. And he's like, all right, fuck it, give me the hooch.
This is a hot one, man. We're rolling with this.
Oh yeah. Now I don't want to leave you now. It's like now I'm going to be back at a hotel room with a flight in the morning.
Yeah, is your girl still there?
No, she left today because they added a Sunday show. So she was like, oh, I didn't know. So she just left.
Did you change your flight?
Yeah, I had to change my flight to tomorrow because we added a Sunday.
That's great though.
It's great. I mean, people are dying to come out, but yeah, I just hate getting back to New York on a Monday. It's like a pet peeve.
Oh, the traffic?
Well, just I like to start the week in my bed. I hate the idea of like the week starts. It's a mental thing.
I hear you. Something with the traffic on a Monday too, especially.
Yeah.
Okay, fucking kill me.
I know. Sunday, when you wake up Sunday, go to the airport, it's nice. It's like your little day.
You're right. There's something about starting the week right. You feel like job has some stability.
Yeah. I even thought about getting like a midnight flight out, like on Sunday night, and just landing in New York at 3 a.m.
I love a midnight flight. I love a late flight like that because you're like, I wake up in bed. I don't have that, and also
exactly.
you're on it, and like, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna watch a show or read something on the flight. It's like that. You're fucking home. It's great. It's
like when you're in a shit bum town, and your opener's like, should we drive back? We're not gonna get home till 4 a.m. I'm like, drive back. Fuck it.
Always.
Let's go back.
Always. I don't really drive. I mean, I'm worthless, dude. I don't drive. I'm talking to Alex, who I'm seeing tomorrow. He's like, I'm biking. I'm like, I guess I got to like walk down to like 17th Street.
Right.
It's like, I'm worthless. I can't I tried to ride a bike down the highway. I wiped out like 3 times. I got like cuts all over my arms. Yeah, I'm terrible.
What?
Yeah.
Oh man, I could teach you how to drive if you ever want to. I'm a good teacher. I feel like I can really.
Maybe that'll be an episode.
Ooh, yeah.
I like
comics doing daily things.
We'll figure that out. Yeah, I would love that.
You can drive. I mean, if you can play basketball, you can drive.
I got a license.
Oh, you do?
But I sweet talked my way into it. I didn't deserve it.
That's the most New Yorker thing ever. I can't drive, but I sweet talk my way.
I failed too, and I got her, and I was self-deprecating out of the gate, and she laughed. I was like, I'm in. I said, I've already failed twice. You can't fail me. I'm gonna look terrible. And she laughed. I was like, all right, I'm in. And I was not good, and she passed me. I didn't deserve it.
I love the idea of you running over a kid, and they're like, how'd you get a license? You're like, I sweet talked her. That woman's gonna go to jail.
There's a kid who can't walk right, but I can, I can still land a joke. So we should tell people, like, what do we need for this? We got to get a network at some point, right? Or do we go independent with this? What are we doing?
I think we need a decent logo we're willing to put on iTunes and just have as a logo for our show.
And someone to help with that. If someone wants to help with that, hit us up.
Yeah, please. Somebody sent us a great theme song. I already lost. It was a DM, and it's already been buried.
We have a good theme song.
Okay, so we're going with that.
I mean, I like. Should we play it one more time?
I like it too, but I never hear it.
Let's go with it. Let's see. One more drink. I don't know if I could find it.
I was actually singing that in the shower today. It's catchy.
It's a catchy tune. So you will get here. I'll play it. Hold on. Ready? One more drink. One more drink. In the morning
All right, sold.
It's great, I think.
It's great.
That's my boy Colin Smith singing there.
Wow, he sounds so different.
He's the most versatile fucking musician. He's incredible. Yeah, I think that's the song. I mean,
All right, great.
speak if you're against it. We can get him to do something else, but I think we got to use that. But
I love it.
I mean, if someone out there wants to put that to animation or something,
Ooh,
for a nice intro for this, we'll pay. So let us know. And
Yeah.
and if you want to help us with Libsyn and all that bullshit, we're too lazy for that. So someone help us with that. And yeah, just
What was
DM
that?
us.
Libsyn?
Well, we got to get the to get on iTunes. We got to get a thing, you know.
Oh, like a, what do you call it? A network or a?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm worthless, but I know we got to get on something like that. So someone help us with that. And thanks for listening. And we're gonna keep them coming. So you keep listening. We'll keep banging these out.
Hell yeah, buddy. Always a pleasure. Great ep. It's going to be hard to top this one next week.
We will. We'll top it.
Yeah. I'm half in the bag. I'm going to rub one out to lobster tube.
Me too. Okay.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Comedy.